Tyran Stokes is a killer, one of the best high school basketball players in that level, the prep level. He's also in the class of 2026 for now. He's the number one player in the class of 2026 for now. But he's not playing AAU this summer, which is brand new news as of yesterday. And it's important news because it's long been rumored that Stokes might reclassify to the 2025 class. Now, we have seen players reclassify up a class before, especially number one overall players. Cooper Flagg just did that this year. It went great for Cooper Flagg, made a Final Four run. He's going to be the number one overall pick in the NBA draft. So it would not be an unprecedented move for Tyron Stokes to move up a level and join the same class with AJ DeBansa, who, by the way, former prep teammate of Tyron Stokes, AJ DeBansa. So as the number one player in the class of 2026, everybody wants him. There's a bunch of schools all over him. The schools I've heard the most involvement with have been Louisville, Kentucky, and BYU. There's still a bunch others on the list, but if reclassification here is serious, there's some smoke that BYU could make a play. There's some smoke that Pat Kelsey, who's dropping bags left and right, could make a play. And I think Kentucky would absolutely be in play as well from the sounds of it. Do you take this news that Stokes is not playing AAU to mean that he is going to reclassify?
Oh yeah, 100%. I feel like there's no reason for him not to play AAU unless he was going to reclassify. And look, uh, Tyron Stokes to me is the type of player where I don't know what he gains from necessarily playing AAU and high school basketball again because I mean he's 6'7". He's like this he's a very physically imposing player how he plays the game where I don't see honestly what another year of high school would necessarily do for him. I think it actually would bode well for him to get to college and start to play against maybe some bigger, stronger, faster guys to possibly advance his game. But yeah, I have a hard time believing that this doesn't mean that he's looking to get to college early and play college ball next year.
Yeah. Yeah, the writing seems on the wall here. Do you think that's a good move? Reclassifying is always a buzzword for me with recruits. I like it more when you're as good as Tyron Stokes is or Cooper Flagg is than I do when like a four-star kid tries and does this. Do you think it would work if he does this?
I truly think it will work. Just because like I said before, I think that Tyron Stokes, I mean, now he's not some guy who's just like 6'11", right? Like a big man or something like that. But he still is pretty physically dominating at his size for his age, where I think that it would behoove him to go play at the college level and possibly, get better and get in that system and I think better himself as a player. And I think there will be a lot of options for him too. I mean, obviously, a lot of the big schools will be on him. It'll be interesting to see though in this era of reclassing and just era of college basketball, where older is better and transfer portal is so great. And yes, you want to recruit high school, but do you really want to recruit a high school kid who's young? Right? Like I know Cooper Flagg worked out and everything like that, but that's Cooper Flagg. With all due respect to Tyron Stokes, he's not Cooper Flagg. So, and that's not said disrespectfully. He's a great player, but Cooper Flagg is a one-on-one college basketball player. Um, but yeah, I don't know. The things that scare me with reclasses are one, reclass point guards, and two, reclasses that aren't physically ready for the game. Tyron Stokes is neither of those.
Yeah, that's not Stokes. I called him a guard because I think he plays like a guard. He's 6'7", 245 pounds. He's a junior in high school that is 6'7", 245 pounds and moves like a guard when you watch
Yeah,
him play.
and is
So,
an athlete, strong as hell.
yeah, he's not going to have any issues if he does reclassify, in my opinion. But, I mean, the only thing I would say, like, Cooper Flagg reclassified, and it was like, oh, we have a new number one player. Like, excuse me to whoever else was the number one player, make room for Coop. If Stokes reclassifies into the DeBanza Peterson class, he's not better than DeBanza or Peterson, is he?
No, no,
That's
he
and
no.
that's no disrespect, but he wouldn't be sort of reclassifying to be the face of the sport for a year, the way that Cooper Flagg was.
Yeah, no, he's a good player, but he's not. He's not in the Superfly Debanza or Peterson, I think, round to me. He would, I think, in this class, if he was to reclassify to what would be
2025.
2025, I think he would be somewhere around 9, 10.
Okay.
I think that's where I'd put him.
Okay. That
Like, still,
seems low. I think still top 5 or 6.
you think? I mean, well, who's currently? I feel like Amen's there,
I like
A
Stokes better than Amen.
Mm.
I didn't realize you were a big Amen guy either.
I'm not a big Amen guy, but I see why Amen would be ranked above Stokes. Because, like, you're talking, I mean, Stokes is a 6'7", 245, like, three man, because he's not a two,
Yeah, Nate Amen's a 185-pound four-man.
but he's 6'10".
He's 6'9". Peterson, Debanza, Boozer for sure better. Darius Acuff, we love. Michael Brown, Amen, Chris Sinak, iffy. Koa Pete, I love. Caleb Wilson, yeah. Elijah Arenas, Braden Burries, Malik Thomas, Braylon Mullins. It's a great class. It's a great class. I think if Stokes commits, he's absolutely in that top 13. We interrupt this sleepers video to talk directly to you, our loyal listener. Have you ever found yourself watching us two idiots thinking, hey, I wish there was a very easy, small way for me to show a token of my appreciation for all of their hard work on all these videos I love to watch? Well, now we have just the way to do that.
Thanks to the beautiful folks over at Underdog Fantasy. They are helping us out this month, presenting a lot of the content coming out this month, giving you a chance with a amazing offer that you can use using our promo code that Gregory will tell you more about.
Yeah, so college hoop season's over, but we got like big time golf tournaments. The NBA playoffs are coming. Baseball season's underway. There's still a bunch of sports on. There's still a bunch of ways to play with Underdog Fantasy. Promo code SLEEPERS. As a new customer, you can get up to 1,000 bonus credits plus a free pick. It's one of the most fun ways to play. It's a great way to support us. And on some actual like non-ad read stuff, talking genuinely here, really helps us because if Underdog loves us, if we get a lot of people to sign up, they're going to help us continue to bring you the content that you love. Show your support. Join Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code SLEEPERS. Get up to $1,000 in bonus credits and a free pick. Me personally, I would rather have Tyron Stokes than at least a handful of those names. I would take Stokes over Amet. I would take Stokes over, I think, Caleb Wilson. I think I'd take him over Sinak. I know you feel differently than that. But bottom line, you're getting a 5-star. If he
Yeah.
reclassifies, you're getting a 5-star.
Yep.
Now, I mentioned 3 schools. I mentioned Louisville, I mentioned BYU, and I mentioned Kentucky. Here's why I mentioned those 3 among the many schools that are interested in Tyron Stokes and will make a play even if he reclassifies. I mentioned BYU because BYU has hella money and because there is a connection very clearly with AJ Debanza. They're paying for
Mhm.
Rob Wright. They got Richie Saunders back. I have no idea where Tyron Stokes fits in. We talked about, if they get Xavier Lee, they might have to go small. Card, if they got Tyron Stokes, play him at the 4, Saunders at the 3, Devance at the 2. Suddenly you're huge. With Rob Wright, that would be insane, and they would certainly have the money to do it. Louisville. I don't think there's any shortage of funds for Louisville, no matter how much they've spent. Pat Kelsey, let's just call him what it is. He's the biggest, baddest dude on the block when it comes to paying for players right now. And I don't mean to minimize what he's doing. He's a great coach outside of that. But it's portal era. Pat Kelsey's beating everybody right now. He's killing. And this isn't a portal player, but if Stokes is going to basically say, hey, let's have a bidding war for my services, I'm going to play in 3 months. If Pat Kelsey wants him, right now, to me, Pat Kelsey gets who he wants. And then the third guy in the room that I think deserves mention is Mark Pope. Mark Pope's put together a great transfer class. He's got great high school recruits as well. And by all accounts, Stokes has been a priority from the jump for this guy. So you could name a bunch of other schools. Those are the 3 that I would fixate on. Everybody wants Stokes: Alabama, Auburn, Houston, Kentucky, Kansas. I already mentioned Kentucky, excuse me. Michigan, North Carolina, Ole Miss, Texas Tech are all on his list originally. Do you think I'm right to pull those 3 schools out as options if he's reclassifying, or do you think there would be other guys in play immediately?
No, I think that would 100% be kind of the schools I would have on the list. He's also a Louisville, Kentucky native. So, like, That's where I think he lived there until he was like 10. So like that's his hometown. He's visited there a couple times. I honestly was always leaning on him going to play for Pat Kelsey. Would it change something with the reclass? Because obviously next season there is kind of a guard wing logjam, or do you just find a spot for a guy like Tyron Stokes?
That's the thing. It depends on where you're going to play him. Because I think you look at Louisville, they've added a bunch of small guards. Do you play Stokes like on the wing and feel like it actually rounds out your roster? It could work. But if Stokes views himself as like a primary option, ball in my hands guy, I don't know that Louisville makes a ton of sense given what else they've added. At the same time, does BYU either? Like if Stokes wants to be an on ball, give me the ball guy, a team with Rob Wright and AJ DeBanza isn't necessarily where you're going to do that, even if you love AJ and you want to play with him. So to me, like I would say this: I pulled those three out, and Kentucky's loaded. By the way, he'd be a killer at Kentucky. Don't get me wrong, but like they're old, they're going after stars in the portal. They also have Jasper and Caden coming in. Like they're one of the deepest, loadest, most talented rosters in the sport next year. If he is really reclassifying, I think it might end up being a school we didn't mention. Like, I, not to say Alabama and Auburn aren't going to be loaded, but like you could probably go to those schools and be the superstar right away on a top 10 team in a way that might not happen at Louisville and BYU, who we both have as top four teams in the country next year, and Kentucky, who's like seventh in the way too early top 25. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he just wants to be a piece in a really good team, and that's why those schools are options.
Yeah. Did you say USC is an option?
I didn't. Do you think that's a possible one?
I'm just thinking about like schools he could reclass and like maybe they necessarily haven't done much in the portal or haven't don't have this massive high school recruiting class where he could play right away and kind of like maybe you pitch like a Tyran Stokes and I think Elijah Arenas is the other guy they got coming in. But those guys may be a little bit redundant to each other. So I don't know. I think it's interesting what these reclass guys are able to do if you're not a Cooper Flag, right?
Yeah. Right. I mean the other thing is depending on what the budgets are, if we really believe BYU and Louisville have unlimited budgets here, if you can get more money to be a piece on one of those teams than you would get at a different school to be the star, might be worth it. I mean, let's just be real. If Stokes goes to BYU or Louisville, we're probably looking at the number one team in the country, right? Doesn't
Yeah.
Louisville, if they had Tyron Stokes, they jump up to preseason number one?
Maybe not ahead of BYU, but number two.
I think BYU with Stokes would be the undoubted number one team in the country.
Yeah, I think he would definitely get those teams into that realm.
Yeah. All right. You want to make a way too early prediction on what Stokes will do here?
He'll end up playing AAU in high school again.
You think this is all like a mirage?
I think he's gonna look into it, and I think he's gonna assess his options and see like what he can get. But I think this is just a play to do that, and then he'll end up going back.
Okay. Can I float a theory to you?
Yes.
I think Kevin Young is a deranged psychopathic serial killer.
Mm.
And I think we have signs of that we've almost kind of shrugged aside. He got AJ DeBanza to commit to BYU.
Yeah.
He got Rob Wright lined up for 10 minutes after Yegor Tementi commits.
Yeah.
If there's smoke on Stokes, I think that Kevin Young is not the guy I would bet against.
I'd rather not bet against him in those bags. So
Yeah.
that it would be crazy if this man loses. This man subbed out Yegor and Dallin Hall and brings back one of the best players in the Big 12, the best recruit in 2025, and also the best recruit in 2026. And like that's sicko, true sicko.
I think he is well, this would be my favorite roster maybe ever if that came together. I hope that happens.
Facts.
We'll see. All right. Will be fun to watch where Tyron Stokes goes.